And just like that, I'm back with part 3 of all my dresses. Now I forgot to say what I'm wearing. This is the Donnie Shirt by Friday Pattern Company. I actually got this fabric as a sort of a beach wrap. It wasn't really a wraparound skirt because there wasn't enough fabric in it. From one of my girlfriends who I think she bought it when she was in Sri Lanka, and it was actually a border print. So I managed to get the border print on the sleeves, yeah, on the bottom hem, on the back hem, and just on the side of that pocket there. So it wasn't terribly much fabric, but the Donnie shirt doesn't actually take very much fabric. This is a nice comfortable shirt, the Donnie shirt. I can see that I should make more of those. I think it's a good thing to make when you don't have much fabric. But anyway, let's get on with the dresses. So the next dress I've got, which is number 16, is a Summer in New York dress. And this is by Seasons of East. When Adele, when sewing for Serenity, actually had one, and I think it was the Ladies in the Lake fabric. And I've made this purple Cobra Corsage one. And the purple Cobra Corsage was in a deluxe box that I received from the Dahlia Sewciety. And so what I recommend you do is do a toile because the skirt is quite fitted. I think in the end I've made a straight size 16 and the neck is quite snug on it. Especially when I made a one in a faux linen, let's call it. It looked like it was linen, but it wasn't linen. It stuck to my iron. So I actually had a lot of polyester in it. And although the fabric looked nice, it was very stiff and it didn't have the same properties that linen have, because linen has a bit of give in it and grows a bit while when your body warms it up, but this one didn't have any give in it, and I found it very, very close to my neck there, and I could feel it all the time, and the fabric wasn't soft. So in my last one I've changed the neck slightly, but I wear this one all of the time. That was September 2023, and I like that sewing pattern, Summer in New York, so much. I made another one, and this one is out of the fabric, another one from the Dahlia Sewciety, and this was called Neptune's Daughter. And this is beautiful fabric, really, really beautiful. I love both of those dresses, really, really nice. It's a great pattern, but do a toile to make sure you can get the fitting right. The only thing I did different was from the pattern was I used a shorter zip. So I must say I can tell the difference between the dresses I have that have a YKK invisible zip, or I think the other one's a birch invisible zips, because the YKK ones are just much easier to do up, and I don't need to press the zip open. So when you're sewing an invisible zip, it is suggested that you unzip the zip and then press it open so that you can get into where the teeth meet the cloth. And when I use a YKK zip, I don't need to do that. So it is my preference, and it zips up really easily, really easy. It's there's actually no pressure on the zip when you've got it done up. It's just to get it on, because you could not have it in the back because the back's got gathering in it, and there's no seam in the back of either the skirt or the bodice of the dress. So hence why the zip is in the side on the curved part. And so think they had it coming out to about here, like right under your arm, but I could easily get it on when I tried it on when I made the toile, and I thought I'm just going to use, they're either asking for a 12-inch zip and I used a 10-inch zip, or they're asking for a 10-inch zip and I used an 8-inch zip. I used a zip that's 2 inches shorter than what their suggestion was. Really fast, easy make. One of my favorites. Now the next dress I've got is the Fern Bird dress. Don't you just love this fabric? Gosh, these are really creased up. That's from jamming them into a wardrobe they don't fit into. This fabric is just beautiful. Now the Fern Bird, I made a top first and then I altered the pattern. I altered the pattern to be much smaller in the neck and the shoulders so that it fitted. And I'm really happy with the dress. The top, I stupidly had put the facings in and everything, and then thought, oh, I don't really like the fit of it. It looks too baggy up here, so I needed to adjust it, which I did do, but I had to pull it apart. Never really looks the same once you've pulled it apart. Looks okay, but it doesn't look as nice as this does. So the Fernbird is a sewing revival. Look how creased it is. A sewing revival pattern, and the sewing revival patterns go together really, really well. This, when it comes to facings and everything matching up, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And it has a ruffle down the bottom, and I did a rolled hem in hot pink on the sleeves and on the hem. So really happy with this dress. Now this is an art gallery fabric, and I had seen this fabric on something. I don't know that it was on YouTube. It was on something that I'd seen. It wasn't on YouTube and it wasn't on Instagram, but I must have come across it on a website. Well, it was sold out everywhere. I could not get it, and I couldn't buy it from the UK. I couldn't find anyone in the US to sell it to me because it's art gallery, so it is a US fabric. And then I contacted a fabric importer that's in Melbourne that imports from overseas, and they were able to get me some, but I did have to take the whole 10 yards, and it's yards, not meters. First of all, I thought, why is it 9.18 meters or whatever it said? And I thought, oh, it's yards converted to meters. So I bought the bulk, and I have the rest of the fabric because I just love the fabric so much. It's just beautiful. It's really me. So that was a Fernbird, and I will make another one of those dresses. Really, really happy with it. Really happy with it. Now the next thing I made was the Laundry Day Tee by Love Notions. Check out this fabric. So this is a Euro cotton jersey. But as you can see, it looks like it's embroidered. It's such pretty, beautiful fabric that I've never seen before. I got this in a bespoke box from the Dahlia Sewciety that was called Ode to Coraline, which was just a bit of a different take on Halloween, because I guess I didn't want to have ghosts and ghouls on everything, but just a beautiful dress. I really like the Laundry Day Tee. I like the length of the sleeves, comes down to my elbows. So if you're worried about getting sunburnt, a really good dress, and you can also wear it when the weather is not as warm. A bit more coverage. So even though you might think the Laundry Day tee and the Spellbound dress are very similar, they're actually a very, very different shape. But loving this because I love the fabric. So I have had other Laundry Day tee dresses too, but I think I must have given them away. So that's that one, and I made that in November 2023. Now the next dress I made was a McCalls M8053. Now I just call it a dress with the darts. I don't know if it's very me. I really like the fabric. The fabric is the Midday Mimosa bespoke box fabric, and it's a viscose crepe. I extended the length of the sleeves because I didn't think they were going to be long enough, and then I used bias tape to hem them so it would be as narrow as possible. And I just did a tiny machine hem on the bottom. So not sure how I feel about this dress. I'm not sure if it's just the colours not very me. It has got some dark in it, so it should suit me. So I usually go for like quite strong colours. Or if it's the shape of it. Is it the shape of the neck? Which is what I need to, I wouldn't use this pattern again. So it does have darts. I had some issues with the pattern because you can use the pattern with or without darts. It doesn't tell you which piece has the darts and which doesn't. So if you're a beginner sewer, I mean, you can see it has two different fronts. One's got darts in it, one hasn't. That's quite easy to see. But when it comes to the facing, it doesn't say use this piece if you're making the front with the darts. It's just got two front facing pieces, and they're different to each other because one's accommodating the darts and one isn't. So just a bit of a strange one when it came to that sort of thing. Yeah, not for, you know, I hate to think how many people have tried to stitch in the wrong facing to it and then just given up, not realised. But like the fabric, not sure I like the dress. So that'll have to be, I'll wait and see. So the next thing I made was a Penelope dress by Style Arc. I made this in December 2023, and I made it, and this actually looks quite orangey on screen, but it is actually crimson red. It's actually really dark red. So blue-based red. It is a beautiful dress, and I had seen Deb with Sewing Seams from Deb. She made one, and she made it in this red linen suiting as well. So I just copied directly off her. And I figured that as we live 3,000 kilometres away from each other, we would never actually be wearing it at the same time. So once I saw Deb in this dress, I thought, I've got to have one of those, because how Christmassy can you get? I've worn it several times. I tell you what, it's not easy to iron. And because it's in such a heavy linen, because it's in linen suiting, it is a nightmare to iron. So I actually put my ham inside the sleeve to try and iron it. And this technically is ironed, not that you'd know it. But really beautiful dress, comes together really well. It has pockets, and quite a decent pocket too. An invisible zip. And the only thing I'd change is I would shorten it in the waist if I made it again. So I actually wore it with a belt just to bring it up a little bit higher, because I thought that the waist wasn't hitting my waist. So that's not the pattern, that's just me because I'm short. But Really, really happy with this dress. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and very comfortable. So that's my Penelope dress. And then after that, I decided I would make the Vogue 9167. Now this is what I called my slow sew. So here it is here, and these bits fall down when it's not on you. When it's on, that doesn't seem to happen. So this is a beautiful dress. It's all pleated. It doesn't have pockets. I still think it needs a belt, and I've got the fabric there to make a belt. But I love it, and I wore it on New Year's Eve. So I'm calling it my best dress. Now, it took a few weeks to make this. It's not like me to have things partially done and then go on to other projects. I usually finish one thing and then start the next thing rather than carrying it over. But I was doing this as a slow sew. So I read the instructions, which the instructions weren't bad, but when it comes to this pleat here, they have you cut away part of it up here instead of just pleating it all. So I wouldn't do that cutout next time. I would actually leave it the way it is and just pleat it. Provided your fabric's fine enough, it's really not an issue. And it's got an invisible zip. Really happy with the dress. I think it looks really, really nice and really, really smart. Now this fabric was from the deluxe box, the Enchanted Palace, from the Dahlia Sewciety. And it is just beautiful, beautiful fabric. It's a Viscose Jacquard fabric. Be able to see the fact that it's Jacquard. Yes, you can see that there. And so that's actually much more noticeable when you're wearing it, that it's Jacquard. But really pretty fabric. And I sort of keep that as my best dress at the moment. Now, the next thing I made was the Peacock dress from the Sewing Revival. Now, that's a wrap dress, and it didn't work out. It was so big, and then when I checked the pattern, I had actually, I don't know, I think I must have left the printer as fit to page rather than 100%. And I didn't measure the little square that said measure this square, see what, you know, make sure it's 2 inches by 2 inches or 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. I didn't measure it, and that's what happens. You cut it out, you make it, and it's so big, 2 of you could wear it. And this is the fabric here, and it's beautiful fabric. It's a Lurex viscose from the Christmas bespoke box from the Dahlia Sewciety. And I really like the fabric. Well, you can see that Lurex, but it's got a lot of Lurex in it. And I can feel it on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can recut it out in the correct size, because I have since reprinted the pattern, stuck it together, and then realized that the other pattern piece I've got is like unbelievably too big. Like, we're talking the bodice is this much longer, the hem is this much longer. How I got it out of the fabric, I've got no idea. So I'm going to see if I can recut it. And if I can't, I'm going to turn it into a skirt. But I am going to wear it over a long sleeve top, because the Lurex just be way too much for me. Way too much for an eczema person. Yeah, but really pretty. And it actually looks quite brown on the screen, but it's really a burgundy color. So it's a very pretty fabric. Yeah, it's stuffed up because I didn't check it properly. I just printed the pattern and didn't check what the printer was on. I think I printed it off at Officeworks. So that's completely my fault. It's not the pattern's fault. But the neck binding and everything fitted perfectly. So whatever size I made it at, the facings turned out the same size. So I'm sure it will come together perfectly well when I cut it out correctly. So I'm going to have another go at that to see if I can fix that up. But I think in the photo I put it on with a polo neck jumper because the lurex is quite scratchy. For me, other people wouldn't care, but yeah, and it's even scratchy on the inside. But if I made a skirt, I'd just line the skirt. I'll see if I can recut it. I should be able to. The fact that it's way bigger than it should be, not just longer, but wider as well, means that I should be able to cut the pieces out of the pieces that I've got. Probably have to pull the whole thing apart without ruining the fabric. Oh yes, and it's all top stitched and under stitched and everything, as you would expect. So that's going to be a nightmare, but I really want to use the fabric. It's really pretty fabric. So I will give that a go and see if I can cut the dress out of it. I may not have to pull all of the facings off the front. Depends how the reconfiguration goes, but I will be doing that. Now my next make is Summer in New York dress in the Lady McElroy Cobra Corsage, and this is the Chloe Chambray. Now this is the actual fabric type that Adele made hers out of, and I really like it. It says it's a linen blend, but it's called Chloe Chambray. That's what they're calling it. So it really is about the same weight as a chambray fabric. And I altered the neck on this one. You can see that I've taken a tiny tuck in that neck there, just to bring it out here a little bit further so that it wasn't as snug against my neck. And I also made an obi belt to go with it. So I'm just finding that when I think dresses are just getting a little bit big, and it's probably only for the time being, I don't know why they're getting too big, I don't want to start making stuff that's smaller really, because before you know it, I'll need the other size again. So I'm finding when clothes are getting, or dresses are getting a little bit big, if I've got a belt to go with it, then that's great. So I made a belt to go with that. I've worn this several times already. One of my favorites, naturally. And the last dress I've got to show you is the Aurora dress by Wardrobe by Me. Now, if you haven't watched my video from the other day, this has got a placket, plus it's got an insert of a front yoke. And I talked the other day about how you could cover up your placket or cover up the insert of your yoke where it meets the corners if you weren't quite happy with how it turned out. Not always a really easy thing to do. So, but this actually did work out really well. Now this fabric is from the Frida Kahlo box from the Dahlia Sewciety. Absolutely love this fabric. It's a cotton lawn, and this dress is really a caftan style dress. It's got a plain back, just little grown on sleeves. It's not the fastest make in the world because you've got a placket, because you've got the insert, but it does not have a back yoke. It's just a plain back. And it's got pockets, of course. So the Seasons of East dress, the only thing they don't have is they don't have pockets. And because it's such a narrow skirt, you really wouldn't want pockets in it. It's going to be very, very obvious if you had pockets in it. So I love this dress. Hopefully, I get to go to a pool or the beach and can wear it. Probably not when I'm trying to chase children because it's a bit long for that. But if I go to my sister's place and go in her pool, I could wear it then. So that's all from me. That's all my dresses. Well, except for the very last dress that I've just finished, which is made from my Nerida Hansen fabric, which I'm not showing you today. And that will be the last one that I've made so far. The other thing I've got to do is I've got to make a toile for the dress I am thinking of making for the Art Deco fabric. So I've got the fabric, I've got the trim. I've sort of got a pattern in mind, but it is a shift dress. Not always that successful with shift dresses, so but I really wanted to make a dress that had like an attached scarf section, for want of a better word, that came around the front. So whether it's a V front or a round neck wouldn't matter. And then it drapes over your back and have a V-neck back and have it coming over, like the piece coming over, and then have trim on the end of that as well as trim on the hem. Not sure about the sleeves yet. Don't want to overdo it and go overboard. So that's all from me today. In the next few days, I will be coming to you with my photos of the Nerida Hansen fabric that I just received last week or the week before. And it's turned out beautiful. Such gorgeous fabric. So everybody have a wonderful week. Thanks for watching. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, go back and watch those too. That's all the dresses in my wardrobe, which means that I only have 2 dresses in my wardrobe that I didn't make. So, and they're both swimming pool dresses or dresses that you wear over your bathers. So everything else I've got, I made. And it's not all the dresses that I've made in the last few years. I've made a lot of dresses for other people. I've made a lot of babies' dresses, children's dresses, evening dresses for people, wedding dresses, and a few other dresses for myself that I have since given away. So this was really just what was in my wardrobe as at today. And yeah, I've had fun doing it. I can see that I'm making better choices because the further down I got, the more I am liking the dresses that I'm choosing. And I must say, I am going through the curated closet, reading the book. I've got the workbook as well. But really, 3 words that describe your style. It's like silence, color, Can't really think of any other two, because somewhere along the way I seem to have lost my style, and now I just do basically whatever I want. Because sometimes I've got like boho type of clothes on, and that's not what they mean by style. They're asking for words that indicate what you like. Anyway, everyone have a wonderful week. Please like and subscribe. Thank you to the people who have bought me a coffee on my Ko-fi account. That is wonderful and very much appreciated. I will talk to you all soon when I come back with my Nerida Hansen dress. It's not a Nerida Hansen pattern, it's Nerida Hansen fabric. So we'll talk more about that next time. Everyone have a great week. Bye.